for those of us that are old enough to remember, whenever that phone would ring, what did you do? Huh? You would run whenever that phone would ring. I tell you, well, today that's what people do. But when I was growing up, whenever that phone would ring, you'd answer it. Why? Because you never knew who was on the other side of that phone. Whenever it didn't matter. If that phone would ring, it could be a telemarketer, or it could be your kid who's at school and sick and needs to come home. You never knew. You always answered it. And I tell you what, you're a 16-year-old boy, and that phone would ring. Yeah, it could be somebody doing real estate cold calling, or it could be a girl, right? So guess what you're going to do as a 16-year-old boy? You're going to answer that phone whenever it calls. But, I was thinking about how different it is today. It's like whenever our phone rings, some of us might even jump. Who's calling me? And the first thing that we do is we pick up our phone and say, well, who's calling me? And we take a look at it and say, I don't know anybody from Des Moines. Reject. Right? And we don't know who it is, and if it's somebody that we don't know, if it's a telephone number that we don't recognize, we just don't answer it. And that's different than the old days. Whenever that phone would ring, we'd always answer it. Now we only answer it if we know the other person on the other line. And when it comes to taking calls and rejecting calls, are there certain people in your life that whenever their number comes in on your cell phone, do you always answer it? I'm sure for a lot of people there is. I was thinking about this in terms of the fact that when we get that spiritual call, all of us, we are called through the gospel. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 at verse 13 says, but we should always give thanks to God for you, brethren, beloved by the Lord, because God has chosen you from the beginning for salvation through sanctification by the Spirit and faith in the truth. It was for this that he called you through our gospel, that you may gain the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. This is a time when God is calling. God is calling, and he calls us through the gospel. And when we read the gospel of Jesus Christ, we understand that God is calling. Just like there's certain people in your life, you know who it is that's calling you on the phone. You're gonna answer it no matter what. God is calling us through the gospel. What is our answer going to be? And the question becomes, how do we answer that? How do we answer that? And we answer his call when we obey the gospel. He calls us through the gospel, and we answer that call through obedience. And 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 21 says, corresponding to that, baptism now saves you, not the removal of dirt from the flesh, but an appeal to God for a good conscience through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. You know how the King James reads this verse? It tells us that baptism is an answer by a good conscience toward God. That's how we answer the call. The gospel call. The gospel call unto obedience. Now I know there are some people that, whenever they get that call, they just hit reject. And sometimes when it might even be an emergency, they really need to get a hold of you. Reject. No, God is calling us through the gospel. My encouragement is to you, answer it. Answer it. There's a song that we're about to sing that is that's the encouragement there. answer that call. Don't hit reject toward that call, and answer in faithful obedience. So if you're here tonight, and if you haven't answered that call by good conscience toward God, our encouragement to you is to obey the gospel. You have an opportunity, if you haven't done so, to be baptized. Of course, having heard the gospel, heard that call, believe it. Believe that Jesus is the Son of God. Make that good confession that Jesus is the Son of God before men. Repent of your sins. Be baptized by water immersion for the forgiveness of sins. That's the gospel